I am so excited about this. P-Dina, hello. It is our first ever AMA. Ask Me Anything. Had a huge demand from the outspoken audience because I am off this week. I am on the Mark Stein cruise, so I wanted to do something special where I could really tap into your knowledge and your opinions as well about everything that's going on. But I'm not going to ask the questions today. Our amazing audience is, so let me get straight to it, P-Dina. First up, from Ava D2024, who says, "Hello, Dan. Thank you for the opportunity. Just one question. For how long can His Majesty take his subjects for granted and expect them to forgive and love his darling boy like he does? It doesn't even matter what Harry and Meghan do now. The world is waiting to see what the king does now. Can we keep hope alive, or should we get used to seeing the two go without repercussions?" Good question to kick off, P-Dina. What do you reckon?
I think that there are going to be no coming together while the king is ill, because Harry is, I think, being shut out by those that are surrounding the king for his health. And, he has to be, like no stress. Things have to be pretty chill for him to help him with his, things he's dealing with. And I think it's not going to be until the last minute where things are going to become very dire that Harry will end up speaking with his father, because we've seen that in the past, even with the passing of the late Queen, Harry did not get to come on board to say his last goodbyes until it was at the very end. And I think we'll see a repeat of that. Because things are so stressful with the family and what Harry has done, that they can't possibly bring him in right now to have any kind of relationship with his father, because it's just too much. And we've seen it happen before, and it will happen again, I believe.
Very good first question. Okay, next up from Karte333. "Hi, Dan. I would like to know what you both think will be Harry's fate since stepping down from his African charity." P-Dina, from my point of view, I'd just say the grift goes on, right? The grift is going to go on, and charity is now his latest grift. So he will try and connect to another charity. Do I think it's going to work? No, because we've now seen from what went on behind the scenes at Centre Bali that no one, or very few people, I should say, want to put good money into anything involving the Sussexes now. And I totally understand why. What do you reckon?
Yeah, I think, yeah, exactly. I think that as well. And also the Invictus, I think there have been some rumblings behind the scenes around his Invictus work. And there's going to be, I think, at some point, some kind of allegation, maybe similar to Bali, that could be happening with Invictus, because we know Meghan has now come and put her paws in the Invictus Games work, and they're not happy about it, the people that are working with Invictus. So Harry is definitely going to maybe try to find another work that he can attach himself to. That's what he knows. He doesn't really know anything else. He's tried other things that have failed. He has no interest in anything else. This is what he knows. And so now that he's no longer going to be working with Bali, I think he's going to try another charity, and perhaps maybe have some kind of problems with Invictus later as well. I see it happening.
Let's not sugarcoat it. This might be the boldest statement ever made in the royal YouTube space. P-Dina, in her viral AMA appearance with Dan Wootton, said if she ever had a chance to interview Meghan Markle, she'd ask her directly, "Did you really give birth to those children?" And honestly, the crowd went wild. Not only did she double down, she demanded the birth certificates, calling into question what has long been whispered about online. And love her or hate her, P-Dina said what a lot of people have been thinking. If Meghan has nothing to hide, why is everything so secretive?
Yeah, I do too. And it is interesting. There was a lot of unease about Invictus this year, a lot of fury about the way that Meghan Markle completely overtook the coverage of the event. And we saw that she was even sent home. But the fact is, why did Harry allow her to come in the first place? It's nuts. It's meant to be his thing. She didn't add anything to it. Now, Liz Holmes asks, The Archewell charity needs to be investigated regarding money laundering and political donations. How can this be initiated? Well, P-Dina, we have to be very careful, of course, because I imagine they have been quite careful in terms of the filing of these accounts. Remember, we did learn that they only spend an hour a week on charity work, which does give you some type of idea about exactly how much they care, exactly how much of a priority Archewell is. But obviously, the donation to Joe Biden's daughter is being investigated.
Yes, and there were also talks about U.S. aid and money given to, I think, somewhere around $50 million as well. In terms of her question, how this can be initiated, I think it comes down to because it's a federal agency here in the state, so it would come down from the Attorney General's office at the federal level, and they would have to put in an inquiry around it. I think it's a concern. I mean, we're talking about a lot of money here. We have a new administration as well, so I think it's probably happening. We just don't hear about it, but except for the one with the Biden
Ashley
daughter.
Biden, yeah. I do
Yeah, so
think,
yeah.
though, P-Dina, we always have to stress that Trump, who cannot stand Harry and Meghan, is very careful in terms of what he does with Archewell and Harry's pursuits, because he doesn't want to cause difficulties for Prince William. He certainly doesn't want to cause difficulties for King Charles, who is battling this very, very difficult form of cancer. And that's the overriding feeling from him. Now, it doesn't mean that he's not going to allow his teams to do proper due diligence. And obviously, he has been clear that Harry and Meghan have to do the right thing. They shouldn't deserve any special treatment. But this idea that there's going to be a real look into what they're doing, I would be surprised. And it is nothing to do with Prince Harry and Meghan. Trump can't stand him, but it is everything to do with his overall respect for the British royal family.
I think that's the only saving grace Harry really has, right?
Yes.
It's like your connection to your family is the only thing that's saving you.
The irony.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that kind of gives him the insight into, well, you better leave your family alone because right now they're kind of saving you from more troubles that could, fall on you. But I think Harry will. I think because I know there were talks about if he were to, slag off the family again or talk badly about the family again, that the titles could be stripped. I know that's something that they were talking about. So I think Harry is really trying to be a lot more careful now because his reality has become a little bit raw to what could happen to him. And so I think he's going to be a lot more careful than he was when he first came here. He's about around talking about his family. So that's the only thing that's really saving him is his connection to his family.
Another viral moment in the interview, Meghan's supposed professional separation from Harry. According to P-Dina, Meghan uses the media to soft-launch shifts in her public brand. And what better way to distance yourself from Harry's flailing reputation than by pivoting solo, with jam podcasts and rich housewives? The signs are all there. Meghan's wearing her wedding ring on the right hand. She's making red carpet appearances alone. And Harry? He's being left behind in the Montecito fog. It gets even messier when they start talking charity.
Richard Gibbs 1758 asks, did members of the royal family doubt Meghan's integrity and motives immediately, as some of the population obviously did? Well, I think I can kick off on this one, Rich, because I was doing a lot of reporting about this at the time. Of course they did. Yes, they were very, very concerned. They knew what Meghan Markle was all about. That's not to say, though, that they went out of their way to make things difficult. It was actually the opposite. They were so determined to make this work. It wasn't a situation like Princess Margaret and Townsend. It was nothing like that. They wanted to make it work. The late Queen in particular wanted to make it work. But did they have concerns? Of course they did. They knew she was difficult. They knew she treated staff badly, and they just wanted they just wanted Harry to slow down.
Mm-hmm.
But he didn't.
Yeah.
He was love drunk.
Yeah, they wanted him to be happy, but at the same time they had their concerns. And I think you're in a very difficult situation when you want to make your loved one happy, but the thing that makes your loved one happy is this person that you're looking at with the side eye. So you have to kind of balance the two. And I think this is why so many more exceptions were given to Meghan that were given to Catherine, because they were trying to meet that balance to give her a lot more, you know, I guess things that they didn't give Catherine, like allowing Doria to come around for the holidays and before they were even married. Harry and Meghan were married. So yeah, it was very, I mean, we have to think about how difficult that was for the royal family at the time. You know, they knew exactly where Meghan was coming from, but they had to be very careful because Harry was so, like you said, Dan, love drunk over this woman. So, I mean, we can't forget about how difficult for the royal family it was as well, because you have to give them credit for that. They allowed this to go forward. They wanted Harry to be happy, but it became for the royal family at the end of the day, it was a detriment to them that they allowed it, because look at what Meghan did to the family then afterwards. Later, she turned on the family. So you can only imagine how upset they were about all of this after trying to help her and Harry.
Totally. So yes, Richard, they did doubt Meghan's integrity and motives immediately. But of course, in the modern world, they weren't going to tell Prince Harry who he could marry. They wanted to make it work. Okay, from @CVS Kunkel, is the Markle family concerned of what Meghan might claim after Thomas Markle Sr. passes? Have they talked about taking some precautions? Perhaps recorded a video of him, etc. I really hope so, because I fear she is going to be very nasty once he cannot fend for himself. And oh my goodness, CFS Kunkel, actually, that's such a good point. And I think it might be something, P-Dina, that I discuss with Samantha Markle, because I'd never considered this myself. But absolutely, the problem is, once Thomas isn't around, then obviously he isn't able to counter so many of the lies that Meghan's been putting out.
According to Dan and P-Dina, people within the Invictus Games community were furious at how Meghan hijacked the spotlight. She came in like a brand ambassador and stole the focus from the veterans. Even worse, allegations around money laundering, shady political donations, and only 1 hour a week spent on actual charity work at Archewell. This isn't philanthropy. This is a PR machine wrapped in nonprofit branding. Dan points out something wild. Donald Trump can't stand Meghan and Harry, but he's held back. Why? Out of respect for Queen Elizabeth and King Charles. He doesn't want to drag the monarchy into an American political firestorm, especially while Charles is battling cancer. But P-Dina makes it clear, if Harry keeps pushing it, that protection may evaporate. Because Meghan's mouth might get them both in trouble, especially when it comes to misusing donations or smearing their own family.
Yeah, I hope what I heard before is really moving forward. I remember Tom Jr. talking about a documentary.
True.
I think they're putting together their voice. Um, I believe they're preparing for things as we speak. At least I hope they are. And I know it was talked about before. And I think that's the best thing that they can do, is to really be documenting things and getting your narrative in line, because we know when that day comes, Meghan is going to start lying and doing things, and they need to counter anything that Meghan does, because she doesn't come forth with goodwill. She's as bad as they come, as far as I'm concerned, and I'm sure they're ready for that.
CJE3247. Oh, I love this one. Okay, if you had the option, P-Dina, to interview Meghan Markle, what would be the 3 things that you would like to ask?
Oh my goodness!
That is a good question, CJE.
I would think, girl, what are you thinking? What is going on with you? I mean, like, for real, Meghan, come on now. No, I would tell her, ask her, why have you done this to your family? Why do you think trying to show your family out and to dismiss your family as nothing was a good idea? Like, really, that, to me, I can understand that when she's documented how wonderful her father was in the beginning, and didn't say anything about her siblings negatively. So that would be the first thing I would ask her. I think I would also ask her about um, moving forward with her life. I think you need to try to show some humility and try to be a good person and ask her what she has learned. Because I think when you try to ask people when they see mistakes that have happened in their lives, okay, we all have mistakes, we all make mistakes, but what did you learn from it? I would ask her, what have you learned from going on Oprah? What did you learn from leaving the royal family? I would ask her a lot of things about what she has learned, because in the beginning of my channel, it was always about trying to garner some kind of do better from Meghan, because she was making so many mistakes in the beginning, and they just kept getting bigger and bigger, the mistakes. And lastly, I would ask her, girl, did you give birth to those children? Did you really birth
Yes.
those children?
Yeah.
That's what I
Show
would
me the
ask
birth
her.
certificate, okay?
Yeah, show us the birth certificate.
Yeah, I would also love to dig down. I love all of those, by the way. I would also really love to dig down much more into the lies surrounding why things turned so negative, specifically with William and Catherine, because the narrative that Harry and Meghan have put out just isn't true. So I would really want to dig down into that, and on quite a specific level. Like, you say William and Catherine didn't welcome you into the family. Actually, were they not more concerned about the way that you were treating their staff? And why did you take so badly to the fact that the Princess of Wales, Catherine, called you out for that? I really would love to go into that, plus a whole load of the lies surrounding Megxit. You never had any intention of staying in Canada. Come on, just admit it. And specifically as well, Meghan's terrible behaviour before the wedding, especially in regards to Tiara Gate. Okay, great question. On to MJ Hooper, 1975 now, who asks, P-Dina, did you notice that Meghan Markle was wearing her engagement and wedding rings on her right hand during the clip with Gwyneth Paltrow?
This one hurt. P-Dina and Dan confirmed that yes, the royal family did doubt Meghan's integrity from day one. But out of love for Harry, they tried to make it work. From letting Doria join holidays to bending traditions, they gave Meghan more leeway than even Catherine ever got. And how did she repay them? By accusing the family of racism, betraying private conversations, and torching bridges on live television. No wonder the Queen was skeptical of that wedding veil. He saw it all coming. P-Dina is sharp on this. Meghan is infiltrating elite Hollywood wife circles, not out of friendship but strategy. From Gwyneth Paltrow to the wife of Netflix execs, it's all part of a calculated climb back to relevance.
Oh, actually, I think, yeah, I did see a comment about that. I didn't think much of it, but I think that is definitely a clue. I think it's a sign, because Meghan does things very intentionally, right? I think she will do something like that just to show, well, I'm fighting with him, or we're really not together. She would definitely do that for a reason. And I think that has been a clue to all of us seeing that for sure.
Yeah, indeed. She is very strategic. I'll just get up uh, the picture of that, P-Dina, just so you can look at
Mhm.
it here.
Yeah.
But what do you make? What do you make of the whole? Actually, that is, while I get the picture up, Kim Dagnall A344 says, "What is your take on the Meghan and Gwyneth storyline? Fake or surrounding
Okay.
herself with powerful wives from bookshop owners and the wife of the Netflix head?"
So that's Meghan's strategy. She wants to sell to this level of people, of women. And I think she's going to try to get in these circles of friendship. This is where she wants to be. And I think Gwyneth coming into Meghan's circle so publicly like this was a mistake for Gwyneth, number one. But I think Meghan is giddy, is excited. This is like, oh my gosh, I'm with the A-listers. This is where she wants to be. But her attitude, who she is as a person, will reveal itself in such a way that is like so disdaining to these women. they will not be in her circle for long. Meghan always ends up showing people who she really is. They can see through it and they don't want nothing to do with her. But it's just a matter of time, I believe, till she's off to another circle of A-listers or high-level women. And then before you know it, the word's going to get out and people are going to go against her once they really truly get to know who she is, because that's what we have seen. It's a pattern. We've seen it happen in the past. So it will happen with these new circles for sure.
Her girl squad. Right, P-Dina? Her girl squad. Oh, so cringe. And it's like the girl squad that no one wants to be a part of, actually, these days, because any A-listers who get close do anything to try and actually convince the public, oh, I'm not really part of it. Oh, no, I don't really want to be on her Instagram story. It's weird.
I think it's weird because, Meghan has shown up into a space in California where a lot of people are just curious. They don't know much. They haven't really looked. They're not really interested. But then she comes into their circle and she starts to show herself as this really nice, kind person just so she can penetrate these friendships. But then she'll become so relaxed in the way she portrays herself around these women that she'll have these slip ups and they'll start to really see her for who she is. And then they'll start to get backlash. Because imagine this, Dan, imagine all the backlash that Gwyneth has now gotten since going on camera with Meghan. She's gotten a lot of pushback. And I think her eyes have been opened just a little bit wider to who this woman is, having done that. And then Gwyneth will now go talk to people about what happened to her. And we also have to remember that the PR publicists have been saying, I remember talking about this on my channel, don't go head to head with Meghan on camera for anything. Like, you can be her friend, but don't show yourself in her circle. And I think this is why we don't see her getting invited to a lot of things that she should be invited to. If she were really in these circles, like in a very legitimate, authentic way, we would have seen her at so many more events, especially around Oprah and Gayle and with Tyler Perry. Like, there are things that we don't see her a part of that reveals that people are trying to minimize their connection to this woman because there is talk going on behind the scenes, okay, with people in Hollywood and in these circles. They know she comes with a lot of toxicity and they have to minimize their connection to her purposefully. This has been said to them by their PR people. I've talked about it and it has been documented that that is the case.
But here's the problem. PR teams in LA know Meghan is toxic. They're warning their clients to avoid being seen too close. That's why Oprah, Tyler Perry, and even Gayle King are suddenly silent. Because Meghan's not an asset, she's a liability. This part really hit. Meghan's estranged family is already preparing for the day Thomas Sr. passes away. Why? Because they fear Meghan will rewrite history, claiming victimhood when he can no longer defend himself. According to P-Dina, they're working on documentaries, recorded statements, and voice archives to preserve his truth. Because once Thomas is gone, Meghan could turn the narrative into a sympathy tour. And they're not letting that happen without receipts. One of the most powerful moments? P-Dina's origin story. She recalls how she watched Meghan's wedding, saw her cling to Harry, and wear a white veil despite being divorced, and thought, something's off. As a mentor working with young girls, P-Dina knew this wasn't the example to glorify. So she picked up a mic and joined the royal commentary scene, proving that when the mainstream media stays silent, the truth still finds a voice. Whether it's soft-launching a breakup, hijacking veterans' charities, or strategically networking with elite wives, Meghan Markle is playing a long game of reinvention.
Very much. Bit of a personal question from Dan Dare 2586 to end this AMA, P-Dina. What prompted P-Dina to start her channel?
Well, my channel got started when I was watching the royal family and Harry's wedding. I was just listening to the article or listening to YouTube, watching YouTube, listening to the articles, reading articles, and there was this new girl that Harry was going to marry, and he put out this article about, or this news release around, leave my girlfriend alone, because he wanted people to know, you know, she's of mixed heritage and that we stop the racism. I was like, oh, really? Racism, Harry, black girl? I was like, okay, well, who is this girl? Because I was like down for it. I'm like, that's so cool. And then when I saw, I'm like, oh, that girl, she ain't black. She's not black. What are they talking about? And then that piqued my curiosity. And then I saw how the interview with the engagement interview, and I thought, oh my gosh, like there was an aura. Because Meghan, how she was grabbing Harry's arm, like, I mean, how she held on tight to him, that bothered me. It actually gave me anxiety. I was like, Harry, loosen, you know, like shake off your hand from this woman. Why is she so clingy with him? And then how she would interrupt him for the questions, and she came off very fake and pretentious. And I was like, uh-uh. And then there was like the wedding with the white dress. I just got so intrigued by these little things. Now you have to remember, I'm doing my charity work and helping kids with choices. And you know, when you go abroad, because we're planning trips to Europe and you know, trying to teach kids about how to behave, and I'm thinking, this American woman, divorced American woman, behaving like this is going against all the things I'm talking about with my students and trying to teach them, let alone my interest in the royal family already because of Diana. I'm thinking, okay, I got to have my voice heard, because we have to remember, shout out to Danger Zone. She was the first that was talking about the things that I was only thinking about. She was doing it on YouTube. And I reached out to Danger Zone. I was like, I want to do what you're doing, girl. I have some things to say, because this is in line with everything. Like, this is gelling with me. You know, it's so aligned with what I'm already doing professionally with my work, my interest in the royal family. And she pepped me up and said she thinks I would do great. And it was on that I said, okay, I'm going to do this. And then that's what I did. And then the whole white dress thing was really revealing, because this is a second marriage. And she made it look like she was this first time bride coming down with this long train and veil. I mean, I thought that was just too pretentious for her background. And it was an eye opener for me. I thought it spoke so much, because even the queen gave her the side eye at the wedding. We have to remember, the queen was like, and there was something that came out that, why do you have to wear a white dress? This is your second wedding. Why, you know? And I think the queen's insight into it was like, yeah, queen, I'm thinking the same thing, you know. And so
and
that's
she
where
didn't want her to wear a veil. Famously,
yeah,
she didn't
yeah,
think she should wear a veil, but of course,
right.
Meghan did. Oh, I love that. Great story, P-Dina. Thank you so much.
But as P-Dina and Dan Wootton made clear, the public is catching on. The facade is crumbling. The questions are getting louder. And if Meghan really wants to silence the speculation, there's one easy fix. Show us the birth certificate. If you think P-Dina dropped truth bombs, hit that like button. Do you believe Meghan faked the pregnancy? Or is this all media mischief? Drop your thoughts below and subscribe for no-nonsense royal commentary every single week.